Breath. Notice where you feel your breath the most in your body. You don't have to overthink it, just wherever you start to notice the breath arise naturally and fall like a wave melting with the exhale. And just continue to ride it out. So as you breathe in, feel that expansive quality, that gentle opening. And as the exhale comes out, there's a softening and a weighted feeling in your body, just getting heavier. Feeling the support under you. Last minute. We will do the last bit. Noticing the center of our chest and feeling the breath in. Feel if the skin can spread a little heavy on your exhale. Just bringing awareness to the center of your chest. So we're just noticing that area. Breathing in right from the center of your chest. Breathing out, softening. Last one. Take a bigger breath in, center of your chest, opening. Breath out, letting go, letting go, letting go. Good. And we'll just gently start to back off of this stretch by bringing our arms down and rolling to one side or the other. Just removing all the props to the side, and we'll lay down flat for contrast. So just lay down all the way, really nice. Feel your shoulders, feel your legs. And bend your knees for windshield wipers. So feet will come wide, and we'll just kind of flush out the hip, the pelvis, the back, right to left. For a little bit of time, just letting it be easy, noticing the range of motion. Always feeling free to linger in any one spot or just go with a little flow. And now we'll let our head go opposite of our knees. So when the knees go one way, the head just kind of gently turns the other way, and slowly massaging the back of the head and the sacrum at the same time, as we're also balancing right and left side, brain, body. Okay, great. So we'll do a series next with the balls. So what you'll need here is your block and your two balls. Just go ahead and grab your block and your two balls. And the first one, we're going to start from the top of the shoulders, and the balls will eventually, with time, we're gonna get spots all the way down to the sacrum. So it's gonna be a nice long journey that is gonna go on either side of the spine, the ball. So I'll wait for a moment, let me set you up. So just have the block and the two balls handy, and you'll lay down. So the block is gonna be by your side. Next, you'll grab your two balls, and it's easy to just cross over and sneak them under your shoulders, but they'll be peeking out a little bit. So basically in the center of where the shoulder and the neck, right between the neck, corner of the neck and the shoulder, roughly right there. And then you'll cross over into the other one. So you have them under you, but kind of peeking up. Good. Really good. And then you can always adjust them. You always be able to adjust them, but you feel like they're under you. Now find your block and lift up your butt. You're going to notice, oh wow, the sensation's going into the balls already. You can choose level 1, the flat height, or level 2, medium height. And I'm going to go with 2, and I'll just place my sacrum, base of my spine, right on the block. And the balls are just, you can make any adjustment you need with the balls there to see if they feel nice and even, and see if the block just allows your tush to just hang off the edge. So as we breathe here into the shoulders, into the upper traps, we can just stay with this, absolutely just stay with this. Or if it feels nice, you can bring your arms up to the sky, to the ceiling, and then maybe even float the arms back over your head. And the sensation will probably go a little, if the balls are too far apart, you might not feel this, but you might. So you'll just, if you don't feel a good sensation, just adjust how close the balls are to each other. Right? None of this should be painful. And if it's too much to have the arms overhead, rest them anywhere that feels helpful. And then we just stay. We just stay for a few breaths, allowing the balls to soak in. So one thing to note is that the balls just don't go on bones. It just doesn't feel that good, right? So they're really just in the tissues. In this case, we're kind of in our upper traps. Yeah. And just find a spot, and then we'll just settle in so that our brain can also take the well-deserved rest that it does get during sleep. It does. There's a lot of restoration that happens during sleep. There's also something quite magical and scientifically helpful that happens when we are awake, but we be still and quiet and receive. And you can't get that from really that much else. Meditation, this kind of yin, myofascial release work, where we are specifically down-regulating the nervous system while we're awake to release stress, to lower cortisol levels and balance out hormones. So many benefits, but you can just feel the goodness of it as you let your body receives it. It's kind of like, oh, thank you for slowing down. We're just here for another breath or two. Relaxing the hinge of our jaw. And as you're ready, if your arms are above you, just gently bring them down by your side so you can subtly, just slightly lift and remove your block. You can just keep the balls there for now. Lower your pelvis. Take a moment to soak in the flush from that really nice, helpful sacrum compression with the block. Flushing with fresh. You might not feel it, but it's still happening, still working. You might feel warmth or tingling. Okay, we'll roll to our side and place, grab the balls so we can do the next part. And what I recommend is using the block as a pillow here. So we're gonna place the balls in the center of our mat, an inch apart. Not at the high of the mat, but halfway between the head and the foot, pretty much. So, because we're gonna be rolling up. So if you put the balls like pretty much almost touching, pretty much almost touching. And the block will be over there for your head for later. Yes, very, very good. Balls will go in between the shoulder blades. And they're really, depending on the spine, they're almost touching, if anything, an inch apart. So you'll see if you can lay back. They're going to go right in between the shoulder blades. They're right in between there. So you just try to lay yourself back on there. This part takes a little proprioception. And you can adjust and place that block on the flattest height under your head as a pillow. Okay? So now you'll use your feet on the ground to gently glide your body up or down an inch until you feel a nice little spot. And then we be still. And we be still with it. And we just let ourselves soak in. Finding a position that we can rest and using our breath to feel the balls under us. And the exhale just kind of melts our body. And slowly these spine erecta, these are the erectors. So they run up and down, these muscles up and down the length of the spine, right next to the spine. And they hold a lot of tension. In this case right now, we're also getting the rhomboids a little bit, the top layer. But really we're just seeing if our body can melt without digging in, just allowing, and we'll be in each spot here for 30 seconds. All it needs is 30 to 60 seconds per spot to shift and get a change. Especially when you're letting yourself soak it in. One more breath. Let your exhale soften your shoulders even. Just let them be heavy. The last few moments here, if you want, then you can move the arms a little bit. Up and down. Do one arm at a time. Let's let your arms rest in stillness for the last second here. And we will keep the balls under us. Our block pillow will move up a little bit. And on whatever height you like, and you'll glide your body up so the balls will glide down to the lower part in between the shoulder blades. You can find whatever height you like for that block here, and if you need to use your arms to adjust, do so, but now they're in the lower part in between the shoulder blades. Okay, so they're not in the where your bra strap would be. They're just barely above that line. Men wear a heart rate monitor, just above that. So you're still in between the shoulder blades, but now you're in the lowest part in between the shoulder blades. And then you can just rest here for a few breaths. Sometimes it feels good to loosely hug yourself here, just gently wrapping your arms around you and maybe even rocking left to right. But really, especially if you're kind of, you can kind of, for the hug, it's up to you, whatever feels good, but you can kind of just like drape your right arm over your right shoulder, drape your left arm over your other, or the opposite one, and then just kind of notice that feeling. Yeah. But there's a really sweet value in doing less. Especially people that, like myself included, that we do a lot, right? There's a value in just trying to not make it happen, but let it happen. Okay, great. Now we'll find our next spot. So slowly letting the balls massage you along the way with an even weight, heavy weight, we will move our body up. The balls will go down, and this time they're going to be right where that bra strap line would be, where that clip would go. And men, heart rate monitor strap. And you could glide a little up and down there, just very gently. If you have a shirt that's gotten stuck or hair or something, just find that adjustment. And you could even use your hands if you need. But you're just finding a little glide up and down to give yourself a massage. So I'm using my feet on the ground, my butt's lifting, and I'm just gliding my body weight. It feels so good. Balls are really close together. Just on either side of the spine, right there. And then we'll find a spot there and just stay. We'll just stay there. So stay there. I'm gonna get up for a moment, but you guys stay there. Notice if the jaw has any opportunity to relax more. This area can hold a lot of tension. Notice if your arms are gripped, Stephen. If your legs and pelvis feel not super comfortable and relaxed, a nice one, and it depends on everybody, it's gonna be different for everyone, is feet just a little wider than hips, knees are bent, and knees knock in toward each other. Sometimes that neutralizes the pelvis, only if that feels good. Just examples. Yeah, just letting our jaw just almost feel like it's gonna drool. Great, you guys, really nice. So we'll move on down. The balls will go down, and our body will go up. And so you might, adjust the pillow, or you may not even need to use it, but you'll see if you could glide your body up and the balls glide down. Oh, and you're gonna go down as far as right above your last rib now. So I notice sometimes when I teach this, I might go fast and someone might be way high still up. So you can always take your time and go slower if you find a spot along the way. Otherwise, the balls are going to be where your last ribs, if you palpated your ribs, so they're not in the low back yet. They're right above the last rib, and I'm showing here about where this trigger spot is, but again, there's so many spots along the way. So I'll tell you what, if you find something in between, I say amen to that. Stick with it and enjoy. Okay, and then just let yourself relax into it. We're really breathing into the ball, just using it as our focal point, and the breath is going right to where the ball is. And our exhale is just melting as if these tissues are the ball is just soaking up into the tissues. So sometimes if we get firm and we try to push into the ball, it's just gonna stay like this. Whereas if we soften, the ball just kind of, Great, you guys. So we'll stay here for a few more breaths. Noticing you might even already notice the relaxation effects that this has on the nervous system. Just soaking it in. Just bring the ball, lift up and grab the balls and put them under your low back. So they're going to be right in the C curve of the low back next. You probably won't feel it. You probably don't need the pillow at this point, yeah? So up to you. So they'll be kind of right in the C curve, but they're close to each other. They're pretty darn close to each other, okay? And if you feel sensation here, stay. Because it's in the C curve, you may not feel that much sensation. And at this point, if you wanted more, you could gently bring one knee toward you and then the other, and you could gently just kind of bring your knees over you so that rather than trying to go for a big stretch, which tightens things up a little bit where the ball is, just trying to deliver more body weight over the ball. And you can even kind of rock a little right to left. You could let it be really subtle. As you rock to one side, you can almost feel like the ball is kind of clearing and opening a space right on the side of the spine. You could rock. And then maybe just stay still. And for some this is subtle, for some this is not, depends. Either way, Just allow this to be what it is without it needing to make it more. Sometimes I notice if I don't feel a sensation huge, I'm just like, am I doing it right? Is this even working or happening? But often just the allowing of this, the simplicity and the nourishment of being still with this. Oh, the value is ineffable. It's beyond what we can imagine, and it's hard to describe. So we'll place one foot down at a time, and I'll give you another option. You come to your forearms here, which does require a little bit of effort, but you come to your forearms, use your feet on the ground to glide your body down and up an inch or two in each direction. So it's not far, but you're just you're coaxing these paraspinal muscles into just some fluid exchange and hydration. So the balls really are close to each other, and you're going as low as the top of the sacrum and as high as just that low back. So you don't need to cover too much surface area, because then it just gets less purposeful. And the body weight, you want it to be really heavy, so you'll kind of glide up and down, just an inch or two in each direction. And then when you get to the top of the sacrum, so you'll know that because there's that bone there, and you'll have the balls really pretty darn close together here. Like for me, they're touching, but it just depends on your spine. Yeah, it depends on how thick that is. So you can just coax the balls in the direction of the sacrum a couple passes. Set yourself back down so you can relax your neck, and see if you can just marinate there with the knees knocking in. Balls are just above the sacrum here, okay? Just for a breath or two. Right above that triangular bone, flat, big bone at the base of the spine. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And we'll slowly just rock our knees right to left, like windshield wipers again. But as you drop your knees, just gently one way, not all the way, kind of aim the ball. It's like you're pushing the ball in the direction of the spine a little bit, but you're not trying to push the bone. You're just seeing if you could find a little space there. And the other side, so you're just kind of gently. There's really no wrong way to do any of this unless it's painful. And you'll just go kind of really just giving this area some hydration. And when we release this, all this fresh oxygenated circulation and goodness is coming to these areas that that don't receive direct blood supply, our spine. Okay, find stillness, and you'll gently just remove the balls to the side for later, and we'll lay down flat for a moment to check out the effects of that spine work. From the tops of the shoulders down to the sacrum, and just let your body take a moment to receive in the information and the change, space. Leaning into the trust that there's really nothing more important for you to be doing or anywhere for you to be than right here, right now. Okay, great. So we'll just come to windshield wipers. So just place the balls to your side for later. And without the balls under us, we did this before, but I want us to just get a nice flush again one more time. So knees will windshield wiper one way, head the other way. Get that sacrum and cranial kind of connection here. Head and sacrum, getting massaged on the ground. Relaxing hands. Okay, great. So next, we're gonna actually roll over to our belly when you're ready. And this is going to be for a thigh stretch. So whenever you're ready, we'll lay on it. I'm going to give you a second option if this feels too easy or not, like you don't feel it. So it's just really simple. Quad stretch, grabbing the right foot. That's all. So I just wanted to give you that option first because it's really nice. And you don't even have to do too much. You could use a strap if you can't grab the foot. We're not here for too long of a time. So some of you might have quite a bit more range of motion and you'll need gravity to help you the other direction. And if you're like, I don't even feel anything here. This doesn't feel good, this just feels like blah. If it feels like a stretch, stay. Otherwise, you could try half Virasana, one of my favorites, but I tend to have lots of range of motion in this area, and whereas others I don't. So if you have knee stuff, stay where you are at first, okay? What you do is you lean to your left cheek and you stick your right foot back behind you, keeping a nice fold here. And if that's doable, you can sit your butt down, slightly tuck your tail, and lay back on some props, a bunch of props, whatever you have on you. You can just come to your forearm. So this feels nice. If it doesn't feel nice, then go to your belly and find that quad stretch. Okay? And you can find the strap, give a little resistance to that foot. We're just here for 3 breaths. So if you can note some length through that right thigh. Great, last breath in. And just stay for next. So maybe resist the foot into your hand just a smidge. Give a little traction there, just a little bit. And when we're on our belly, we'll slowly release the foot, take a moment, and just simply switch sides. And just simply switch sides. If you're on your back here, whenever you're ready, just kind of gently roll to the side, keeping that knee folded. Keeping it folded, folded, folded. Happy knee joint. And we'll do the other side. Yes, now we're just feeling through that left thigh. Fold the knee here. Fold that heel back toward you. Sit down on as much props as you need. Tuck the tail slightly. So on your belly, you can do that as well. You can tuck your tail slightly to aim more length through your left thigh. Huge muscles. They work really hard. This is sort of our preparation stretch for some fascial work we're going to use with the balls on the thighs next. Okay, so just enjoy this for 3, 4 more breaths. Trying to find that balance between effort and ease, where you're holding your foot or you're in the shape, but you're also relaxing your body, your mind, by just giving it permission to. We know how. Our deep inner being knows how to relax. We just need to let it. Just need to give it that environment to help it. Since a lot of the environments that we live in now are not relaxing, So we're coaxing, we're providing some tools to help our being return to that state of equilibrium and that quality of ease that isn't something to get or acquire from somewhere else. It's inside of you, always. A few more breaths. Maybe feeling that little gentle resistance of the foot to the floor, to your hand, as you tuck your tail to create some traction there for that left thigh. Breathing in. Huge muscles there. Softening the whole body on the exhale, just letting it be. Okay, great. So as you feel complete on this side, you'll gently with care, release that. Maybe we're rolling to our side. Yeah, and we'll stay on our belly. We'll just stay on our belly for a moment with our arms down by our side. If you would like to kind of shake out the legs or bring the heels in and out, feel free. Circulating through the toes. And now we'll just do one. We'll see how this goes. So we're going to grab the two balls. Hopefully they didn't roll off somewhere. And stay on the belly. And what you're going to do is you're going to place the balls in the center of the thigh. Okay, so the way that I'm going to describe this is you don't have to come up. I'm just going to come up. But think of, there's lots of spots here, but we're going to just do a few. So think of the thigh as from the, in length and width, and you're going to go right in the center between the hip and the knee. Okay, right in the center. So this is the rectus femoris muscle. This is the center one. It goes all the way up here and it crosses the hip. We're just going to go stay right in the center, and then we're going to be halfway between the knee and the hip point. So right around here is where I want. Now, there's tons of spots here. So you're not going to find a wrong one. I just want us to be productive for the time that we have. So we're going to try to work right in the center, halfway between, and in the center of the inner thigh and the outer thigh to try to get the rectus femoris. Yeah, and a lot of this is proprioception. So you're kind of knowing where your body is in space and time. So you'll lay out flat, and then you'll kind of sneak one ball under you at a time, and your butt will have to lift up a little bit to get there. I recommend laying for, oh, that's a good idea. That might be kind of intense. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
great.
just wanted to find that right.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot because it can go up and down the length of there, but we're going to just start with this spot here. Yeah, that was good. Do you feel it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then see what you can do to relax into it. Now what we'll do if once you relax into it is bring one heel toward the butt, not to get a stretch, just to glide, and then the other. And you can do that a couple times. So again, this isn't like you're trying to get a stretch for the thigh. We're just pinning down this first layer of tissue, and we're moving the underneath layer of tissue. Okay? So you're just kind of, you can, if that feels uncomfortable, just stay. So just stay for a breath with that spot. It can be pretty tender. If it's pretty tender, but it's not painful, that's okay. Okay, what we're actually going to do is move the ball down an inch or two, just down in the direction of the knee, which tends to sometimes be a little bit more intense, not always. And then you'll see if you can just relax there. Okay, so they're still in the center of the leg, but they're a little bit lower. Okay, a little bit lower in the direction of the knee. And if you have the capacity to bring one heel up at a time, if that just makes it more less easy to relax, skip it. If you feel like the ball's rolling more to the right or to the left, try to get it to the center, and then we'll just stay for a breath or two, just noticing the feeling. What would it take to just let your body soak in to the balls? Last breath here. Great, so just go ahead and the last spot we're going to do on our thigh requires the blocks, okay? So you just take the balls out for a moment, maybe notice the feeling. We did 2 at a time, so it's hard to kind of check one side to the other, but if we were to have done 1 at a time, you'd really feel different side to side. Okay, so this last one requires a little bit of setup, but we'll stay for about a minute or so it'll be worth it. Not too much setup. 2 blocks, flat height, next to each other here. So you create a little shelf. Yes. And so what's happening is the balls are gonna go, we're avoiding this femoral triangle here. We won't be close to it anyway. And we're still in the center of the thigh. Okay, so the center line, rectus femoris, and we'll be right here. Okay, so it's a little bit, and this isn't exact because some people it's going to be maybe a little high, maybe right below the hip point, and for some people it's a little lower the spot. So just have the balls handy and you lay on the block like this. Uh-oh, if your bladder's full, like mine is a little, it might need to release. Then, not right in this moment, but hopefully there's a bathroom close by. And then you'll have to sneak one ball at a time under your hip point, your frontal hip bone, a little bit under, and in the center. Okay, so it's under that hip point, but not in that femoral triangle. Okay, so it's under that frontal hip bone, right under that frontal hip bone, below the bone. Okay, so I'll come around, so stay there. And if you're like, I don't feel anything, move it down a little lower, move it down a little higher, until you find a spot that puts it again right in the center. How do you feel it?
I feel it. I don't know if it's in the.
Ooh, that's a good spot. It's a really nice spot.
Yeah.
It feels okay.
It feels great.
Okay, great. How does this feel for you?
Good. Everything feels good.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sore from
Good. Yeah. I mean,
I really
this is a
do.
great spot. This is a great spot. So we're gonna actually stay with this one and relax and just, it's a little interesting. The butt's all up and everything, but this is really, really great shape for not only the release of the thighs, but this crosses and intersects at the hip. This is going to be very good for the back as well.
The hip flexors? Is it?
This is rectus femoris still.
Okay.
So this thigh muscle is the only one of the quads that attaches at the hip. The other 3 quad muscles don't.
Okay.
They stop below it. But yeah, this is all connected to the hip flexors as well. Exactly. Let's stay here for 3 more breaths. Noticing the body getting heavy. Oh, I love this one. Okay. Oh boy.
I don't think I've ever stretched this part of my body or felt this sensation before, so that's good.
I love that you said that because what just actually came into my thing was this is such a hard to access very specific spot. It's just very hard to access this spot. So when I learned this one from Tiffany Cruikshank, my teacher of yoga medicine, thank you, Tiffany, she's just a genius and figures out how to leverage things and sort into spots that are often overlooked. So now we will, sometimes it might kick you out. Have you noticed that ever? Like it might kick you out and then you might have to readjust. But let's just go ahead and take one more breath and allow our body to get heavy. So that this work is so efficient. 30 to 60 seconds is all it needs to make a meaningful difference. Lasting, too. So we'll take the balls out. gently, and we'll end up laying on our back, you guys. So however you can do that with a little effort, maybe child's pose in between, that feels good. We'll do one more with the legs and then we'll segue to some shoulder stuff. Oh. Find your strap along the way to your back. So we just hit the, not hit, but we just got through a little bit of the parts of the front of the top of the thighs. So now we're just gonna go right into the hamstrings. We'll get a little bit of the hamstrings now with the strap. It's just hard to beat this work with the strap. Yeah, ooh, I like the neck pillow there. So you can use a little something for your neck, anything that gets comfy to relax as we lay on our back with our strap handy. Yeah, getting creative with your props is one of the cool things about Yin, and you just start to, use what you have. If you don't have tons of bolsters and stuff, use sweatshirts, use blankets, put your legs up the couch, you can just get as creative as you like. So let's go for that right knee hugging in and find your strap. That's another one. You can use anything really. A towel works nice. You don't have to buy fancy tools if, you just use a towel or a tie, a man's tie. So
I don't know any man who wears a tie.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I don't either. I mean, where did I even think of a tie? Who wears a tie? So the way that I like to do this is to walk my hand on one on either strap as you're doing, yeah, and just one on each, and then doing a loop or so, loop to loop is what I've technically named this term. So that fingers don't have to grip as much. And if the arms are straight, if any of you have ever climbed before, you know that when you're in bent elbow, you're working. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm working my arms so strong, and we don't need to work. We already did enough. So straight arms tends to be the most relaxing, as you can let those shoulders just drop back into their sockets and just let the leg and the strap balance each other out. As you start to deepen into your Yin practice, this happens with time. What happens is you do less to receive more, meaning rather than trying to desire the leg toward your head to get more range of motion, you're letting the leg balance back into the strap to provide this kind of relaxation that happens, like that onion peeling its layers, layer by layer by layer, and you're softening into it. And so that being said, it's a little less of a stretch or a pulling feeling, but there's depth you can really get to here. And a lot of it's because that desire mode has been transcended. The left leg on the ground's relaxed. Your right thigh feels heavy into the socket. So it's almost like that right butt's just getting really heavy. And we'll just stay with this hamstring stretch for a few more. If you notice how the blood, maybe the foot gets tingly, maybe not, but we are giving our leg a nice inversion. The blood is recirculating down toward the source, toward the heart. We'll just stay for another breath, just feeling that thigh get heavier. Okay, great. So either happy baby with the right leg. Sometimes I like to segue to happy baby with that right leg first, kind of bending that right knee, just the right leg, or you could do both if you like, whatever you want. So the right knee will come down toward the armpit. Yeah, you could do any kind of thing with the left leg. Sometimes it's actually helpful to bend the left knee and let the left foot be on the ground and let that left knee be like a weight to counterbalance the pelvis. That could be nice, but you'll find your own way. Maybe work that right leg towards straight, maybe not. And if you happen to be close to a wall, you could plant your right foot on the wall there, or just bolster up that right leg for the inner thigh. So basically, I just want you to feel the inner seam of the right leg via half happy baby or extending that right leg away from you. I'll just be here for a few breaths, just briefly giving some space to that inner seam of the right leg, which has a whole nother pitch of sensation. Take another breath. Just allowing for it. And we'll do one more part. So bend that right knee a bit to come back to center. And switch the hand. Hold. Cross the right leg across the midline of your body halfway. Stay there for a moment. You might be able to access this outer seam of the right leg a bit first. And then if you like, you can take it to more of a twist or not. Sometimes I just like to stick with that IT band stretch. Usually that's felt when you're not quite all the way. It depends what you're feeling and you just go with it. Just go with it. So if you find something along the way in the direction of the twist that feels helpful, stay with that. If something feels pinchy in that hip crease or groin, you can use your own right hand to kind of pry the skin away at that hip crease or back off a little bit. Sometimes we don't need much. Often if there's a pinchy feeling, it's this signal that you can do, you get to do less. You don't have to do as much. Which one of my very first teachers, Richard Freeman, who I'm sure a lot of you know, would talk about as really a cool thing. If you're less flexible or you don't have as much range of motion, you don't have to do as much. You're already there. It's kind of a neat way of looking at it. Okay, coming back with a bent knee to get a nice flex for the right calf. Bringing that leg up one last time with flexion for the calf, Achilles tendon. Hug right knee in, and we'll lay down flat without the strap. Just put that to the side and just lay down to receive. Here is the benefit. Here is the receiving. It's working now. It's working right now, all that therapy you gave to your body, you're giving to your body. So feel the weight of your right leg on the ground. Feel the weight of your left leg on the ground. Notice. Notice if even one butt cheek is heavier to the ground. Notice if even one foot's more turned down than the other. Okay, and so you can get your wrists. Isn't that cool? I love that. And it kind of blows my mind every time how effective that is. And we'll just kind of feel through our wrists, maybe do some circles. And let's even it out. Left knee hugs to chest. Lasso up the ball of the left foot for this 3-part series. So the first part's the longest hold, which is the hamstrings. 3 big muscles, back of the left leg. Let that left thigh feel heavy. Sometimes I notice it kind of wants to lift up. So you just really kind of purposely anchor that femur bone into the hip socket, that thigh bone right into the embrace of that beautiful, very stable hip socket. Noticing how with a little bit of time things shift. We're still, but you you see how that time kind of, our tissues of our body are made to mold and adapt to the shapes that we take in life. I mean, it's so cool. That's our fascia. That's what connects everything in our body. So when we hold the shape, a balancing shape from other stuff we do, like walking, running, yoga, other forms of yoga, life and sitting, our body, now we're balancing it out with this shape. And it's now it's saying, oh, okay, so you mean that I can open, and you mean that this area can spread and not be as tight in there. So we'll take 3 more breaths just to feel the left legs and feel the sensation. You feel interesting sensation here. Very different than the thigh sensation. 1 more breath in. And just let that exhale soften your being. So I like to take the strap to the left hand next and start to bend the left knee. And so there you're in sort of a half happy babyish pose. And you can take this into straightening through the left leg or keep it bent. I'm going to bend my right knee and let that counterbalance the weight so I don't have to force my right side of my pelvis down to keep that more neutral pelvis. Which it doesn't have to be perfect, but it is nice to kind of keep that sacrum on the ground here. And just find a spot there and we'll stay for a few breaths. And you give yourself permission here. We give ourselves permission to go very inward, to be very intimate with our body, with our sensation. And truly that is the gateway to compassion, to care for others. So we're able to get out of our own way when we're tuned in to awareness of our mind, of our body, the nuances of the ever-changing everythingness. So we'll find 1 more breath there, here. Bend the knee, bring the leg back up, and we'll switch. We'll do that last part. So switch the hold of the strap to the right hand, bring the leg halfway across your body. You might access a feeling in the outer seam of the left leg, your IT band area. You might need to back the leg off or bring it toward you. And you might just bring the leg all the way across, because even if you did it on the other side, that might just feel good. Again, if that left hip crease is pinchy a little bit, I'm only saying that because mine is right now. It's a little pinchy there. It feels like I'm doing too much. So I'm just going to kind of back it off and just let it be less. Let that be enough. Just trusting that the massage for the soul is within this giving yourself this time to be. Can we take this time to not have to get done or have to check more off the myth list of more equals better? You know, that mythical checklist where the more we accomplish equals we making the most of our life. Right? Take another 2 rounds of breath. This will be it with the strap. Maybe find one other spot for the last breathing in to breathe in. Yeah, and we'll bring that leg up toward the sky eventually. You can bend the knee to get it there and flex your left foot. You might be able to feel that through the calf, through the area of the Achilles tendon. Maybe hug your left knee into chest. Move the strap out of the way and lay down. Yippee. yeah, do anything you need, and then eventually just take that moment to receive in the flesh.